8 days, 5 decisions, one governing body giving the same answer every single time. A goal wiped off the board for Egypt, a red card frozen for the United States after a phone call from a president. A dismissal for Switzerland that nobody could explain, a ball that fell out of the sky in England, and a handball in Spain the cameras caught and the officials somehow did not. Every one of them a firestorm. Every one of them followed by a federation knocking on FIFA's door, and every one of them met with the same word: no. Here is the part that should bother you. None of this was supposed to happen anymore. Football spent the last decade building a machine to end exactly these arguments. Cameras in the roof, a sensor buried inside the ball, a room full of officials with a wall of screens, all of it sold to you as the end of the bad night, the end of the robbery, the end of the moment where you scream at your television and nobody with a whistle agrees. And then the last 8 days happened. 5 matches at the biggest World Cup ever staged, 5 calls that lit the internet on fire, 5 federations reaching for a pen, and one organization standing behind the same wall every time, telling all of them the process worked. So let us count them, one by one. One call is a talking point. 5 of them in 8 days is a pattern, and nobody has to prove a plot to see it. You just have to watch the same door take hit after hit after hit and watch it never once open. Start in the round of 16, Argentina against Egypt. And for most of that match, the wrong team is winning. Egypt leads 2-0, on the brink of dumping the world champion out of its own title defense. But go back a few minutes, because this is where it starts. Egypt puts a goal in the net that would have stretched the lead. The celebration begins. Then the video assistant referee sends the referee to the monitor for something that happened seconds earlier at the far end of the move, a foot on an Argentine defender. A brush of contact most fans never even saw. The goal comes off the board. Neutral pundits later split on it, some calling it a foul, plenty more saying it was far too soft a thing for the machine to reach back and touch. Egypt scored again anyway, and still led 2-0 deep into the second half. And then it fell apart. Argentina scored 3 times in roughly 13 minutes. The winner a stoppage time header from Enzo Fernandez off a cross by Lautaro Martinez. But it was the build-up to that winner that lit the fire. Egypt screamed for a penalty when Hamdi Fathi went down inside the box. No penalty, no video review. And moments earlier, cameras appeared to show a shirt pull on Mohamed Salah that the machine, so eager to study Egypt's foul in forensic detail, never looked at once. Egypt did not swallow any of it. The Egyptian Football Federation filed an official complaint against the match officials, saying it could not stay silent about the refereeing or the failure to use the video assistant referee properly. The coach, Hassam Hassan, said his team had been treated unfairly, called it an injustice, and swore he would not watch another minute of the tournament. FIFA answered fast. The head of refereeing, Pierluigi Collina, defended the review in public. He said the foul was real, the technology found it, and the system did precisely what it was built to do. Complaint received, complaint denied, move on. That is one. Now rewind a few days, to the round of 32, and the strangest one of all. The United States beats Bosnia and Herzegovina. Their breakout star Folarin Balogun scores to put the co-hosts ahead, then gets sent off. The video assistant referee pulls the referee to the screen, and Balogun is shown a red card for stepping on an opponent's ankle in a tangle for position. A play the on-field referee had not even whistled as a foul. A red card means a one-match ban. Standard, automatic. Every player in the tournament lives under that rule. Except this one. Because the President of the United States, Donald Trump, said he picked up the phone, called the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, and asked him to look at it again. And days later, FIFA suspended the ban. It reached into its own rulebook, Article 27, and froze the suspension for a probationary year. Balogun was free to play. The football world lost its mind. Belgium tried to appeal and had the appeal thrown out just hours before kickoff. European football's governing body said the decision crossed a red line and called it unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable. A former FIFA president said red cards are not overturned by political phone calls, they are overturned by rules and evidence and independent bodies. Even Balogun seemed to grasp how it looked. He said he accepted the red card when it came, and accepted the reversal when that came too, and admitted plainly that overturning a sending off was always going to be controversial. Infantino said the phone call changed nothing, that FIFA's legal panels are independent and decide on the facts alone. The wall again, the process worked. Belgium, for its part, answered on the pitch. When it knocked the United States out, its players mocked the whole affair with a Trump-styled celebration, and its official account posted 2 words: "Overturn this." That is 2. Stay on Argentina's path, because the champion keeps turning up in this story. The quarterfinal, Argentina against Switzerland. And here the technology does something almost nobody watching could follow in real time. Midway through the second half, the referee books an Argentine player, Leandro Paredes, for a soft foul on the Swiss forward Breel Embolo. Normal. Except the video assistant referee steps in. Under a new rule brought in for this tournament, officials can now step back and fix a card shown to the wrong man. So they look again, and the whole call flips inside out. Paredes has his yellow taken away, and Embolo, the player who supposedly got fouled, is shown a second yellow instead, for diving. For simulation. He walks. Switzerland, which had clawed its way right back into the game, has to finish it with 10 men, and it loses 3-1 after extra time. Now, in fairness, replays suggest Embolo probably did go down too easily. The call may well have been correct, but sit with the shape of it. A Swiss player ends up sent off in a sequence that began as a foul against him, in a match the champion needed to win, decided by a rule so new most of the audience had never once seen it used. Right or wrong, it left another dressing room furious, and another set of fans certain the whistle only ever blows one way. And notice where you are standing. This is the second time in this single count that the road runs straight through Argentina. The champion keeps advancing, and the flashpoints keep landing in the champion's favor, whether the calls are correct or not. That much coincidence is doing an awful lot of heavy lifting. Switzerland protested the dismissal, and it protested loudly. But FIFA held the line, the same line it holds every single time, and the champion simply played on with a man to spare. 10 against 11, and the outcome never truly in doubt. That is 3. And if you think 3 is where this peaks, hold on, because the next 2 landed inside the same weekend, in 2 different quarterfinals, on 2 opposite sides of the very same argument. One where the machine said nothing at all, and one where the machine spoke up, loud and clear, and still nobody believed it. Quick pause. If you are keeping count with me, if you are the kind of fan who actually wants the pattern laid out instead of shouted at, hit the subscribe button and stay on this channel. This is what we do here. We line the decisions up and let them speak for themselves. Now back to the tally, because it is only half told. The same weekend, another quarterfinal, Spain against Belgium in Los Angeles, level at 1 apiece, and the ball, cleared by a Spanish header, drops onto the arm of Spain's Rodri inside the box. The cameras catch it clean. Belgium's players spin around screaming for a penalty. The referee, Michael Oliver, working his 7th match of this World Cup, waves it away. And the video assistant referee, the machine built for this exact moment, never even calls him to the screen. No review, no second look, nothing. Minutes later, a substitute named Mikel Merino stabs home a late winner, his 2nd goal off the bench in 2 games. Spain wins 2-1, Belgium is out. And this one carries a twist the others did not. Because the officials were probably right. Under the actual law, a ball that comes off your own teammate's head onto your arm is not a handball, and Rodri's arm sat in a natural position with no time to react. 2 separate refereeing experts backed the no call afterward. But that is the trap this whole tournament has built. When the machine studies a single strand of hair to rule out a goal and then falls completely silent on a ball striking an arm in the penalty area, the fan does not hear consistency. The fan hears a choice. And another eliminated nation walks off, convinced the standard bends depending on who benefits. That is 4. Which brings us to the strangest sight of them all, England against Norway, and a goal that seemed to fall out of the heavens. Jude Bellingham strikes England level in the first half, but Norway swears the ball clipped the Skycam cable strung high above the pitch on its way through, bending its flight in the move that led to the goal. Watch it and you can see why they screamed. The ball drops on a line that does not look natural. FIFA had an answer ready, and it did not come from a referee. It came from the ball itself. The sensor inside it, the connected ball, showed no contact, no spike, no interference, nothing. The goal stood. And it was not the only call that went against the Norwegians. A header that would have put them ahead was chalked off after review for a shove by Erling Haaland. Haaland, so dominant all tournament, barely touched the game, and Norway went home. Their own coach, Stale Solbakken, refused to hide behind the wire. He admitted the ball dropped like it came straight from the sky, and then he caught himself. "This is no excuse," he said. "We lost a match." He knew his players would talk about that wire for the rest of their lives, and he still would not let it become the story. A rare, honest word in 8 days of fury. But the nickname had already stuck. They are calling it the Cable of God, and the machine, once again, had the final say. England marched on into the semifinals. That is 5. And 5 is generous. 5 is the shortlist. Brazil sent FIFA a letter of its own after a goal was scrubbed against Scotland, asking, in writing, for the rules to be applied the same way every single time. Ghana were denied a penalty against England, so plain, their coach joked the video assistant referee had gone out for coffee. Messi escaped a red card for a studs-up challenge on an Algeria defender that would have sent almost anyone else off. The real tally is not 5 in 8 days. 5 in 8 days is just the stretch where it became impossible to look away from. Now step back across all of it, and one thing never changes. Not the referees, not the technology. The answer: every complaint hit the same wall. Kalina told the world FIFA is not influenced by anyone, that baseless accusations have no place in the sport. Infantino said the legal panels are independent and beyond reach. Federation after federation, letter after letter, and the reply is always some version of the same idea. The process worked. The call was correct. Nothing to see. And on paper, unnervingly, they are often right. That is what makes this so hard to argue with. Most of these calls can be defended. The foul was real. The dive was a dive. The handball was legal. The ball never touched the wire. Each one, taken on its own, holds up. But nobody watches football one call at a time. They watch the pile. And here's what a whole new wave of fans is learning to see. For millions tuning in to their first World Cup on home soil, a bad call does not read as human error. It reads as a fix. Longtime supporters shrug off a soft penalty. Newcomers see a pattern that always seems to bend toward the biggest names and the teams the tournament needs most. And that is exactly how you lose a fan for good. Because the pile now says that in 8 days, at the biggest tournament the sport has ever thrown, 5 nations were sent home believing the game had been taken from them, and every last one of them was told, politely, that the system was working perfectly. That was the promise. That was the whole reason for the cameras and the sensor and the room full of screens. End the controversy. Settle every argument for good. Hand everyone a truth they could not fight. Instead, the machine has become the loudest voice in the room. Not because it keeps getting things wrong, because it keeps getting things right, and the fans have stopped believing the difference. FIFA built a wall to end the shouting, and the shouting has never been louder. 5 decisions, 8 days, 1 answer, and a fast-growing number of people who no longer believe a single word of it.